The Trudeau Center is the state's leading provider of services for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's one of only a few agencies in Rhode Island offering programs and services for all stages of life, from infancy to early childhood, to transitioning to adulthood, to employment and senior care. The story of Trudeau began over 60 years ago with one family's determination to make a difference. In 1964, the Trudeau Center was founded by Joseph Arthur Trudeau and his wife Evelyn, frustrated over the lack of services for their son Kenneth, who was developmentally disabled.
This is my boy Ken. We are very grateful in our little home to think that Kenny works 5 days a week from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon.
None of the cities or towns felt that they wanted to put money into this program because they thought our children would never amount to anything anyway.
By the time his son had turned 11, J. Arthur, a resourceful small businessman with a magnetic personality, was making plans to change things for the better. His natural gift to inspire and draw together the support he needed to raise money and draft legislation had since become something of a local legend. One key political alliance that brought national visibility to the cause was the strong support of Rhode Island Congressman John E. Fogarty. After attending just one parents' meeting, Fogarty, a great champion of human rights, became a lifelong advocate and used his influence in Washington to bring about major policy changes. With more media exposure came a public outcry for recognition and reform. Little by little, prominent spokesmen took up the campaign. It took years of beating the drum, but eventually enough supporters would wind their way up the steps of the State House and return with funding for improved services and facilities. But long before state or federal dollars arrived, Arthur managed to raise $60,000 along with his old LaSalle Academy classmate, Congressman Fogarty, to help remodel an abandoned school that became the John E. Fogarty Center. More and more parents' groups emerged, formed local chapters, and established the statewide advocacy group of Rhode Island ARC. Parents met whenever they could. The so-called Gas House Gang gathered together at the Providence Gas Company auditorium. While other groups met at local churches, they worked the phones and built up public interest and membership. When the Trudeaus moved to Warwick, they began to develop plans to build a center in Kent County. In the early 60s, when the city of Warwick was persuaded to turn over a piece of land on Post Road for a proposed vocational workshop, Arthur couldn't wait to visit the site. As always, donations came in every form: free landscaping services, steelwork, blacktopping, fencing, and sprinklers. Additional hard-earned dollars from ham and bean suppers, raffles, and dances added to the total. The ambitious figure of $165,000 was needed to complete the building of the grounds. Gradually, the cash flow started to dwindle. Progress stalled, and for a while, nothing much happened. About halfway through construction, as fundraising activities began to fall short, the unthinkable happened. Arthur Trudeau, the charismatic visionary of the parents' movement, died suddenly at the age of 53. His friends and colleagues, although greatly saddened and shocked, were determined to complete his dream and raise the funds needed. They opened the doors in his name in 1966 as a vocational workshop.
Arthur accessed every nook and cranny that was possible to get any support from, whether it be Brown University or Providence College. It didn't matter to Arthur. The Rotary Club, it just didn't matter. The church down the street, if it had potential to offer something to people with developmental disabilities, Arthur accessed it. And you were at breakfast with him, and that was the way it was. And you never left breakfast with Arthur without at least coming up with $10.
It was a very special time for our state, for our whole country, because of these people, Sherlock and Trudeau and Fogarty. So it was very exciting to be able to live at that time with these people who were kind of catching on to something and moving it from one status to a better status. The status quo would now be changed.
That spirit of dedication and community lives on through today's Trudeau staff, who carry forward Arthur's vision of life-changing support, from early intervention for infants and toddlers to applied behavior analysis and special education at the Pathways School, to adult employment and residential programs. Trudeau continues to fulfill its founding mission of supporting individuals and families at every stage of life.
It's so rewarding. I feel like one of the biggest things that has kept me here at Trudeau is just the progress that I've seen with a lot of the students. It's the kids and the teamwork that truly kept me here.
This sense of purpose and belonging is shared across all levels of the organization.
I started when I was 23, and as soon as I started, I realized how much I enjoyed this work, and I realized this is what I was meant to be doing. So I've never left after all these years, and I don't intend to leave. This is what I was meant to do, and this is what I will continue to do. Every day is different. It's a lot of fun.
For many staff members, working at Trudeau isn't just a job. It's a calling that brings joy to both caregivers and those they serve.
Definitely watching the individuals we service master their goals, but also being a providing resource and a helping hand to the families. So knowing that we're providing the support that they're gonna need to be independent out in the world is such a rewarding feeling.
Beyond the meaningful work, staff members find Trudeau to be a supportive environment focused on professional growth and development.
When I started with Trudeau in 2019, it was a really positive experience. I just remember my first time walking down the hallway in EI, and it was everyone's waving and saying hello, and as soon as you walk out the door, the last thing you'd always hear is, "Bye, friend." And you don't get that everywhere else, and that's very unique to Trudeau.
There's been, multiple opportunities to get extra training, extra opportunities to utilize our Trudeau reimbursement program, which helps most of our staff receive educational assistance, as well as receiving a lot of love and support from administration, from your coworkers around you. We often, try to do fun things, Spirit Week, potlucks.
And Trudeau helps us to grow as DSPs, as direct support professionals, through continuing education. And the people, like the manager and those, above in higher positions, are really supportive of the DSPs and helping us grow professionally and as individuals.
This combination of mission, impact, and culture has made Trudeau a beacon of excellence in Rhode Island for over 6 decades, creating a legacy that continues to inspire.
I knew of Trudeau before working here. I visited here several times because it was the place. It was the place you went. It was the place where all of the best things were happening. The technology was the latest and greatest, and the success stories were the most voluminous. The Trudeau Center is a magical place. It truly is.